I came back from a 2-week trip expecting nothing more than a stack of junk mail, and maybe a voicemail or two from folks inquiring about stays at my place. Instead, I pulled up to a shiny new metal barrier blocking the dirt path to the river, complete with sleek black cameras glaring down like sentinels, aimed right at my old man's bedroom window where the dawn used to spill through the ancient oaks. This wasn't some half-baked neighbor spat. It felt orchestrated, cold, like someone was methodically wiping me off the map with a flurry of forms and false smiles. If you've ever felt the ground shift under your feet because people you once broke bread with decided to rewrite the rules, you know the slow burn of betrayal. Stick around, this tale spirals into something wilder than I could have imagined. Driving up that winding road to my riverside cabin in the quiet community we'd called home since the 1970s, I slammed on the brakes at the sight of that gate stretching across the only access route. It wasn't just my driveway it sealed off. It cut 3 other families from the boat ramps and fishing spots they'd relied on for generations. My phone buzzed with notifications for booking groups had bailed in the last few days, all ranting about roadblocks and demanding refunds, threatening to torch my ratings if I dragged my feet. Each one stung like a gut punch. This cabin wasn't just bricks and beams to me. It was my lifeline, funding everything from the roof over my head to the fuel in my truck through short-term rentals during the busy months. Without river access, I might as well have been peddling a scenic shack with no scenery. Out stepped Sophia Hale from behind the gate, clipboard clutched like a weapon, her smile all polished and predatory, the kind that screams, "I've got the upper hand." No welcome back, or small talk. She dove straight into her spiel about community guidelines. "River privileges are for compliant residents only, Ethan," she said, her tone laced with that faux sympathy that makes your blood boil. "Your rental hustle is stirring up noise, parking chaos, and guests who drag down our neighborhood's vibe." I stood there, keys in hand, too floored to snap back, knowing those cameras were capturing every word for whatever kangaroo court she had in mind. I pushed past her to the cabin, my hands trembling as I unlocked the door. Inside, my father's faded photo hung crooked on the wall, jostled loose by whatever heavy equipment they'd used to slam that gate into place. He'd hammered this spot together board by board when I was a kid, back when the area was just scattered homes, gravel lanes, and folks who respected boundaries without needing committees. "Every nail's got to pull its weight," he'd say during our fix-up weekends, "not just look tough." Now, some outsider was dictating who got in and who didn't, twisting rules to fit her agenda. The irony hit hard. I'd spent years in my old job poring over contracts and access fights for event spaces, so I knew the drill. People who thump rulebooks often haven't cracked them open themselves. That gate screamed big bucks and 0 permits. The cameras were top shelf, not DIY junk. They weren't securing a path, they were choking my income, masking it as harmony when it reeked of greed. The river had been open to locals since the community's start, and suddenly Sophia flips the script without a whisper to year-rounders like me. The oak scent wafting through the window, usually my stress bomb, now just amplified what I could lose. I fired up my laptop and drafted a bland, buttoned-up email demanding docs on the gate and cameras, purchase orders, minutes, contracts, the works. Act harmless while stacking ammo. That's how you dismantle these setups. Her reply pinged back in under 2 hours, snippy and superior. Docs available at the HOA office during hours, plus a jab about reviewing bans on commercial gigs. Reading it, I sensed she'd already scripted my defeat. I filed it away, started a timeline spreadsheet, but deep down, I knew a fancy barrier like that hinted at bigger plays. If she thought steel and stairs would cow me, she was in for a rude awakening. The river gleamed like molten gold in the sun, mocking me from afar. Marcus Reed showed up the next day, his briefcase stuffed with grit from years in civil suits, laying out papers on my table like puzzle pieces. Each sheet screamed setup, violations for an unapproved porch stain, a storage shed all time-stamped within days of each other, too tidy for coincidence. Sophia's signature looped everywhere, like she'd been plotting this ambush. Flipping through, I recalled a dark sedan idling by the old bench last visit, lights off. My phone's cam footage matched the violation pics angles perfectly. This wasn't enforcement, it was eviction prep. Digging into HOA finances, a zoning note leaped out. Access easement tweak pending. Applicant Willow Bend Ventures LLC. A quick search. Sophia Hale, co-founder. Boom, puzzle solved. Not a grudge, a land heist cloaked in civics. The Gates emergency flood fix label was laughably no floods in months, per weather logs. Marcus posed as a client to the vendor. They dealt in elite security, not repairs. Total tab, $8,200 for the gate, $3,500 for cameras. Legally juicy? Bylaws demanded votes for spins over $5,000, no vote logged. No bids required? Only one vendor. Twist. The cam supplier shared stakes in Sophia's side hustle, per state filings. Conflict City. We sifted bank statements. Another $4,500, grounds upkeep, was actually guards patrolling after gripes about my guests coordinated, unapproved. My ledger bled. Weeks of prime bookings vaporized. Rep hits from refunds and rants. This cash was my buffer for taxes, fixes, life. Every expense screamed anti-rental crusade, funded by dues from clueless neighbors. But why risk it all? Sophia wasn't your garden variety control freak. The stakes had to dwarf the fallout. Glossy pamphlets hit doorsteps at supper time, screaming, "Emergency HOA meet. Halt River commercial abuse." My name bolded like a wanted poster. Watermark? Elite Designs, her old campaign firm from a botched council run 4 years back. The meeting? Packed with folks who'd skipped real issues like pothole fixes. Sophia painted me as a resort mogul ruining the idyll. Noise at bedtime. Cars spilling over. Strangers lurking. Complaints poured in, scripted and sincere. I'd never gotten formal beefs. I countered from the back. My guests? Vets unwinding. Teachers recharging. Families toasting milestones, all raving about the piece. Pulled reviews on my phone. But facts fizzled against her fear factory. The vote crushed rentals temporarily. Post-meet, finances unveiled a $5,200 consult to a firm owned by Sophia's nephew, family funneling. Her lawyers fired back, accusing me of faking photos with apps, stalling our case on unreliable proof. Absurd, but it drained time and dough proving basics. Marcus subpoenaed cam logs, vendors stonewalled with privacy BS, but HOA ties made it public. Footage? Not just my spot-sweeping neighbors' docks, spying on all. Delays piled, cancellations mounted, turning dream stays into nightmares for guests I'd promised serenity. Breakthrough. Serial numbers trace shipments to Sophia's office pre-gate. Signatures hers premeditated, not reactive. I floated a hypothetical on a law forum. HOA blowing funds on barriers sans votes? It exploded 250 replies, attorneys sharing precedents. HOA horror tales, strategies. Hope flickered. This wasn't isolated tyranny. We stormed an urgent session with binders. Footage of cams ogling bedrooms. Elder admitting coerced complaints. Threats for noncompliance. Whispers erupted. Elena Vargas filmed Sophia sneering at budget queries. You lack the sophistication for this. It went viral locally. HO Gate trending by dusk, her empire cracking. 10 days of grind turned scraps into a bulletproof suit. Fraud, conflicts, interference. Anonymous notes flowed. Sophia pitching river premiums via exclusivity, values dipping from outsiders. Cam data nuked her lies activated early from her office. Court prep unearthed more. Her sister-in-law's firm overcharged for advice. Why the gamble? Had to be mega payoff. Court day crackled. Marcus built our case brick by brick. Bogus flood, spends, kin vendors, my tallied losses. Expert pegged damages deep. Then, Elena's stealth audio dropped the bomb. Sophia's voice, crisp, lock the river to shield investments values spike 18 to 25% with no rentals, pure exclusivity for high-end buyers. Laughter at legal risks. Drag it out till they fold and flee. Judge Harlan's face hardened. This was profit-driven sabotage, not safety. Verdict slammed. $1.4 million joint liability. Gate down in 24 hours. Cams in 72. Injunctions galore. No insurance for fraud. Assets frozen. House sold fast amid probes into training. Trips that were luxury jaunts. Refunds hit $220,000 community-wide. Policies revamped for bids, votes, transparency. Recall booted Sophia. Neighbors apologized. Eyes opened. I poured winnings into dock revamps, honoring Dad's blueprint. Grass overgrew cam bases. A returning family pinned thanks. You fought for the river where our kids conquered fears jumping in. Injustice in suits is still wrong. Sometimes you gotta stand firm. What if HOAs like this are just legalized bullies, too much power, or necessary evil? Would you have lawyered up or cut losses? Ever had authority twist your life for their gain? Spill below, smash like if it fired you up, and subscribe for more raw showdowns that make you question everything.